Korea's economic future. Lessons from the past and strategies for tomorrow. In the previous discussion, I explained how the recent shifts in global finance, especially the US dollar-centered order under President Trump, are reshaping economic strategies worldwide. Now, let us move forward to consider the lessons of Korea's past, the emerging trade and financial alternatives, and the realistic options Korea may adopt in order to safeguard and strengthen its economy. Korea has always been a nation that survived against difficult odds. History shows that every time the country faced a crisis, it responded with resilience, unity, and innovation. A review of those past challenges provides valuable insight for navigating the uncertain road ahead. Lessons from Korea's past economic crises. The 1997 Asian financial crisis remains one of the most defining economic challenges in modern Korean history. Within a few months, Korea's financial system nearly collapsed. The won depreciated sharply, foreign reserves dried up, and major conglomerates, chaebols, fell into bankruptcy. Unemployment rose dramatically, shaking the very core of Korean society. Yet the country's response became a global example of resilience. The Korean people contributed gold, jewelry, and personal assets in a nationwide campaign to help repay international debt. The government implemented strong reforms, restructuring banks, increasing transparency in corporate governance, and tightening regulations. By 2001, Korea had not only repaid its IMF loans early but had also regained investor confidence. Again, during the 2008 global financial crisis, Korea suffered as exports declined sharply. However, by utilizing accumulated foreign exchange reserves, maintaining strong fiscal policies, and expanding swap agreements with the US and other nations, Korea managed to stabilize its currency and banking sector. By 2010, the nation was growing again, proving its capacity for swift recovery. These experiences demonstrate a key truth. Korea's greatest economic strength lies in its ability to adapt, reform, and diversify during times of turbulence. Trade diversification is a strategic imperative. For decades, Korea's economy has been heavily dependent on exports to the United States, China, and the European Union. This dependence exposes Korea to risks whenever global politics or trade conflicts intensify. For instance, when US-China tensions escalate, Korea often finds itself caught between two giants. Diversification is therefore no longer an option, but a necessity. New trade opportunities in Southeast Asia, Africa, Latin America, and the Middle East must be pursued aggressively. Korea has already joined trade agreements such as the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, but it can go further. By strengthening bilateral agreements with India, Brazil, and emerging African economies, Korea can reduce its vulnerability to single market dependence. For example, Korea's green energy technology, digital infrastructure, and advanced manufacturing can be exported to fast-growing economies such as Vietnam, Indonesia, or Nigeria. At the same time, Korea can secure new supply chains for critical resources like lithium, cobalt, and rare earth metals, materials essential for future industries such as electric vehicles and semiconductors. The BRICS Alternative Payment Network. Another important development is the emergence of the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, seeking to create alternative payment systems independent of the US dollar. This movement has gained momentum as more countries become wary of financial sanctions or currency volatility linked to the dollar. The BRICS are discussing a new reserve currency backed by commodities or a basket of their national currencies. While such a system is still far from replacing the dollar entirely, it signals a gradual shift toward financial multipolarity. For Korea, this trend presents both challenges and opportunities. If global trade begins to diversify across multiple settlement systems, Korea must ensure that its financial institutions can adapt. For example, Korean exporters might soon be asked to settle trade in Chinese yuan, Indian rupees, or digital currencies tied to commodity values. Refusing to adapt would mean losing access to new markets, while embracing flexibility could allow Korea to stay ahead in the new trade environment. Realistic strategies for Korea's future. Given these shifts, what should Korea do? Several strategies are both realistic and necessary. Strengthen financial resilience. Korea must continue building large foreign exchange reserves, maintain stable swap agreements with major economies, and encourage domestic savings and investments. This ensures that any sudden shock, whether currency volatility or external sanctions, can be absorbed. Expand trade beyond the US and China. Korea should double down on economic cooperation with ASEAN, India, the Middle East, and Africa. These regions represent not only markets for Korean products but also sources of critical raw materials. By diversifying exports, Korea reduces dependence on US and Chinese demand. Invest in future-oriented industries. Korea's future lies not in competing with China on low-cost production but in leading the world in high-value industries. Advanced semiconductors, biotechnology, green hydrogen, and digital finance are sectors where Korea can establish global leadership. Prepare for multi-currency settlements. Korea's banks and corporations must adapt to the possibility of conducting trade in multiple currencies, including yuan, rupees, or even digital currencies created by new alliances. Building technical and legal infrastructure for this flexibility will prevent Korea from being locked out of emerging markets. Promote domestic consumption and innovation. Too much of Korea's economy relies on exports. By promoting domestic consumption, through policies that reduce household debt and expand the middle class, Korea can strengthen its internal market. Simultaneously, fostering innovation through startups and SMEs will diversify the economic base beyond large chaebol. The global economy is entering an era of transition, where no single power will dominate entirely, and where new alliances, currencies, and trade systems will emerge. Korea, with its history of resilience, must once again adapt by drawing on past lessons, diversifying its trade strategies, preparing for financial multipolarity, and investing in future industries. Just as Korea turned the 1997 crisis into a story of recovery and strength, it can now transform global uncertainty into an opportunity for leadership. By acting with foresight and unity, Korea can safeguard not only its economy but also its role as a vital bridge between the East and the West in the new economic order of the 21st century.